Now, students, once again, I welcome you with the economics chapter. In our last video, we studied about introduction to economy, where we studied what is economics. Then we studied about with an example. We studied how to manage the family economies or family management. We studied. Then we studied the types of economies. In that, we studied capitalist, socialist, and mixed economy. Let us continue further with the next part of our chapter, that is about the details. If you see, Adam Smith is known as the father of economics. He is the one who has explained in his book regarding the wealth of nation that was published in 1776. He has defined the economics as a science of wealth. So students, I hope that you have understood what Adam Smith is known as, or why he is called as the father of economics. That is, he has defined the wealth of nation. In that book, which was published in 1776, he defined that what is economics. Economics is nothing but it is a science of wealth. So science is managing of wealth. Wealth is nothing but money. One more thing, one is given in your box, always remember, that is what is economics is an important social subject. We use economics on a large in agriculture, trade, finance, administration, law, and in our daily life. So a huge variety of things come into economics. Economics hold a paramount importance in the social development of humans. That is very important, main important, or we can say it's a very main important one. Now we come to know, or we come to see, that is what is globalization of economy. So students, I know ki you have studied what is globalization, but let me explain you. When a brand is available, or it is throughout the world, when it is available, that is called as a global brand. For example, Coca-Cola. If you see Coca-Cola, this Coca-Cola is available to you throughout the world. The same product which is produced in America on a large scale. Or you can see, you like Nike shoes. Now these Nike shoes is an international brand, or we call it as a global brand. Now this global brand commodity is available throughout the world, or that is throughout the globe. Or second example is your Apple. Now Apple phone, Apple cell. Apple is a global brand. Okay, so with this example, I hope it's clear to you. When you're talking about these brands, say McDonald, these branches are available all over the world. So that is what is called as globalization of economy. So recent economic policies are taking the economy towards a globalization. One company is selling throughout its commodity throughout the world. For an example, Apple. So globalization means building a world economy. It is an economy that is borderless economy, in which natural resources, profit, services, capital, labor, technology flow freely across the border of the country. So now let me take an example. Say suppose I have a product. Its research is done in Germany. Its parts are developed in different companies like North America or Africa. Its capital money comes from USA or North America, say. So my capital comes from other country, my research and development comes from other country, I'm producing the product in some other country. So when all these together comes freely from throughout the world, it is called as global economy. You can see in this diagram that I have explained you. You can see something comes from some other country, it is sold. That is what is globalization. Globalization means aligning. Aligning means what? Joining the country's economy with the world. So you are now connected to the world. If you are not connected to the world, you will be out of the world. So there is a free trade and all restrictions on the investments are set aside. So you know that there are import duties, export duties. Now all these import duties and export duties which are must. World trade, free trade economy is going on, but still it has not yet achieved. But we can say, students, that this economy is surely going to come. World में पूरा free trade होगा. There won't be any restrictions. Whatever you want to buy from wherever you want to, how much you want to buy, that is what is called as free trade. Now we come across the last parts of the chapter, that is the function of economy. We know that every country has a different economy. We know that. That is, there are capitalist economy, there are socialist economy, there are mixed economy. Every country has their own economy. Every country has their own problems, has their own difficulties. Now, nevertheless, the main function of the economies are similar. The problems, whatever are there, that we can discuss. The main functions of it are similar. Now, if you see, their RS policy is same. What is that? Deciding the product and the quantity of its production. For an example, if I have a money with me, I have to decide what product I have to produce and what quantity I have to produce. Say for an example, student, if I want to produce a commodity which has a demand, that I would be producing. For an example, students, if you see, few months back we were not knowing that this pandemic would come, that is corona, and now you have seen the market is now full with all types of sanitizers, masks, hand gloves, face shields. So there is a demand for this product. Now it is up to me what I have to produce for it. Secondly, see, I have to think about what quantity I have to produce. Means my product, whether I am going to limit it up to my area or whether I am going to sell it out of my area, sell it out of my country, it depends upon me how much quantity I have to produce. Now, the next point is minimize the production cost as much as possible. See, students, if I am producing a commodity, a mask, I'm producing it for 10 rupees and I'm selling it for 15 rupees. So now when I'm producing a face mask for 10 rupees, I'm selling it for 15 rupees, I'm making the profit of 5 rupees. Okay, but minimizing the production cost such that I want to earn maximum profit. When I see in the market, there are a lot of people who are selling the same product in the market. So how I can minimize the cost of my production to earn maximum profit? There are two ways. For an example, say students, I can produce the mask for 10 rupees and sell for 20 rupees. But no one would buy my product for 20 rupees because it would be very costly. But if I make the production on a large scale, and I reduce the cost of per unit production, say for 8 rupees or for 6 rupees, and the same commodity, if I sell for 15 rupees, I earn 7 to 8 rupees of profit. So that is what it is. When I make the production cost less, it becomes much possible for me to sell my commodity at a good profit. Now, the next aspect that is here, the third is distribution of national income according to the social and economic justice. Now, if you see this distribution, now what is social and economic justice? In a country, it should not be like that ki rich becomes rich and poor becomes poor. There has to be a economic justice. Everybody has to get the chance to develop themselves. There should be a justice in the economy. Next is making appropriate provision for economic need of future. That is what? that is making a good provision for economic need. Whatever is my need in the next coming days, that is more important. Now these needs are my needs of my future, so I have to make an appropriate provision means I have to stand by with what I am, my needs are, and how I'm going to fulfill these needs in my next coming future. Now the next is deciding for whom the goods will be produced. See students, I'll give an example. Suppose I have a iron factory with me. A same example that I had taken. Now I can produce a tractor. I can produce a car. Now when I'm producing a car, my production will be only limited to the people who can buy that car. But similarly, if I produce a tractor out of it, so my tractor would be easily available, or it would be in the clutches of the needs of the farmers, which is the must. So this is most important, students. That is, who will be buying my product. If I'm producing an air conditioner, everybody won't buy my air conditioner. But the same, if I'm producing some other commodity, it would be available for a common people. Say if I'm producing a biscuit, this biscuit, for an example, a Parle G. You see, there are a lot of Parle products in the market. Okay, students, but only the Parle G biscuit, this Parle G biscuit, that is a common biscuit, a worldwide biscuit that is sold on a larger scale throughout the country. The India's largest scale producer and the distributor and the consumer is Parle. But how do Parle manage with all these things? You have seen Parle has a number of product in the market. Selling the same commodities last 50 to 60 years, in India, Parle has made its good available worldwide, and so there are lot of buyers for this product. So this is most important, students, कि it defines you, your goods. I'm making for the masses or I'm making for the classes. I'm making for the classes, I'm making for one particular group. When I'm making for masses, I'm making for a whole country. So, thus, an economy is striving to create a balance between the limited resources and unlimited needs. So, every economy is trying to make its balance of the limited resources and unlimited needs. Now, this is what it is. The chapter it gets over here. In this, I have explained you that how your needs and how your resources are, how your wants, the thing that I want, I want it may be not a very necessary want. For an example, if now recently you may see your online classes are going on, okay, for that you need a mobile, but it is not necessary that you have to buy a Apple mobile only. Okay, your basic wants, needs are what? Your basic need is education, and that education you can fulfill with any common mobile. No need to go for a higher or high level costlier mobile phones or costlier phones. So that is what the difference is. What is your needs and what are your wants, that can be, that you yourself can easily understand, and according to that you can manage your economics. Okay, students, I hope with this you have easily understood this first one. Okay, so I hope that this introduction to economics is clear to you. Students, this is the end of your chapter number 8. I hope you have liked this YouTube video, and I hope that you will share your video. I'll be giving you my link. Share this link with your other friends also, and give maximum like to my video. Thank you very much. If at all you have any queries or your doubts, you can give a comment to this below this YouTube link, and I'll be very eager to clear your doubts regarding this chapter. Now, at the last, you can see here I have given you a example of the worldwide economy. If you see the United States, its economy, Chinese economy, and all other economies I have given you. If you see here the United States economy, its economies, if you see here, it is in the trillions, and this is the biggest economy, which is 19.3 like trillion dollars. That is 24.4. Second is China, then it is Japan, and India also ranks in one of the economy, $1.26 trillion. Our Prime Minister Mr. Narendra Modi, he has assured that in the next 5 years, if 5 trillion economy our India is going to be. So do help India to be Indian, buy Indian products, and make our economy great economy in the world. So dear students, this is Mrs. P.S. Zadav from DKT English Medium School. Bye and thank you.